Miss Mama Garcelle was working for that check last night, y'all. Mama Garcelle was working for that check. She was working hard for the money, okay? She was working hard for the money, baby, and she was making that storyline go round. But we about to go ahead and get up into it. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, season 12, episode 4. Did y'all see it? Did you get into it? What did you think about it? We got to talk about it right here, okay? Miss Mama was working hard for the coin, okay? Working hard for that coin. If you are in the chatterization, let us know where you're watching from. We got Cincinnati, Ohio, Charleston, West Virginia. We got St. Louis in the building, Cleveland, Ohio. Hey, boo, we see you. We see you up in here, okay? We got Savannah Park, Maryland. Hey, I see y'all in the building. Come on now. Hey, DC, Grand Prairie, Apex, North Carolina. DC, Chicago, Solomon's Island, Jersey, Phoenix, Lee Acres. It's fine if you don't watch Beverly Hills. You can hear about it anyway. Sometimes you ain't even got to watch the episode. Come on over here. I'll let you know what's going on, okay? Inglewood in the building, Tampa, Louisville, Kentucky. I see you, Miami, Jersey, California. Hey, Palmdale, baby. My sister lives in Palmdale. Hey, I see y'all in the building. All right, so hey Omar, how are you doing? Jamaica, Trinidad, I see y'all. Checking on in. Welcome, y'all. The doors of the church are open, and we about to get into a little discussion. I'm a little late today because I had to do Good Day DC this morning, but I did make sure I got out my news earlier before I left. And now we about to talk about Real Housewives of the Beverly Hills, okay? So on a scale of 1 to 10, what am I going to give this episode? I'm going to give this episode an 8. I'm going to give it a solid 8. I want you guys to rate it in the chat. Let me know what you would rate this particular episode. And the only reason why I'm going to give it an 8, and I know we didn't discuss last week's episode because honestly, y'all, I was so sick last week. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, y'all. I couldn't do it. And the reason I give it an 8 is because, and I see some of y'all went higher, some people went lower. The reason I gave it an 8 was because we are talking about some stuff that happened last season. Okay. And to be quite honest with you, it feels like we are going backwards. Okay. We're going backwards. And to be quite honest with you, I am annoyed by the fact that I see a lot of people online saying, yes, Crystal, stand in your truth, yada, yada, yada. And I can appreciate that. And we're going to talk about a little bit of last episode mixed in with this episode. But what I can't appreciate is if you say that somebody said something dark, I'm going to need you to elaborate on what it is. Period. That's all I got. I mean, you can fry it, you can fly it, but you cannot deny it. That when you say that somebody said something dark, then you are leading people to believe that there was something that was very egregious that someone said that other people would be impacted by it. Now, that's just the truth of the matter. It is what it is. And there are 2 separate issues that Crystal is dealing with here. Well, 3 separate issues that Crystal is dealing with. And I don't like the conflation of all of the issues. Okay. JMW says college, dry, dramatic, and desperate. Crystal opened the door for the BS. Need more from Diana. Garcelle is a real friend. Don't give me tea without sugar. Dorit is not believable. Sutton punching bag. Absolutely. Kathy's next. I mean, here's my thing. Crystal from last episode and the premise for last episode was The ladies were coming down on Sutton for being insensitive, or what they felt like Kyle felt like was being insensitive to Dorit's situation. Garcelle brought it up again while they was all sitting down, while so that they can talk about it while Sutton was there and have it out in the group. Crystal felt triggered because she felt like they did the same thing to her when she said she felt violated by Sutton. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. Last year when she said the word violated, for a lot of us, that word violate is a substitution for a really heinous act, okay? Especially if you work within the constraints of YouTube or news or media, then you will know that in some instances you have to say the word violated versus saying something else, right? So a lot of people felt like that word was very harsh. However, upon listening to her in last week's episode, what I do realize is she may have felt as though Sutton violated her privacy. And in that sense, it's usage of a word, okay? She has every right to feel that way. Point blank, period. So it's triggering for her to hear the ladies beat down Sutton and telling her she should be more, she was being insensitive because you can't tell someone how to feel, as I stated earlier, that Kyle was trying to do. Kyle and Dorit were not trying to understand where Crystal was coming from, that Crystal felt triggered by something that happened last year. And so because they insisted on the fact that they believe that what Dorit is going through is more important than what Crystal had experienced in the past, which are two unrelated issues, they would not let up off of her, and she felt like she wasn't in a safe space to communicate her feelings, to which Dorit again equates that to, well, that's nothing compared to what I have been through, which are two different things to me. And while I empathize with Dorit, we are talking about Crystal in this moment. And if the woman doesn't feel like she's in a safe space to communicate her feelings, that feeling is valid. Okay, because that speaks to the friendship group overall. Now that's the first thing from last week that we got to deal with. That's Crystal's first issue. The second issue is Garcelle brings up, well, girl, because they asked her to come over and talk about it, right? The next day. When Crystal comes over and she tries to explain herself yet again, and again, Dorit is like, girl, what you're going through is a vacation compared to what I'm going through. Dorit, everything is not about you and your burglary, okay? And while that is an issue that we need to be sensitive to, we will be sensitive to it when it's time to talk about it, okay? But right now is about Crystal, okay? So when it's about Crystal, you cannot compare what she is going through to your situation. That is your own comparison that you are making. Nobody else is making that but you. Okay? Let this woman experience whatever she's experiencing, because everything does not have to do with you. All right? Now, Crystal's next issue is that Garcelle feels like Crystal had it out for Sutton last season when she said to Sutton, are you going to tell me, are you that girl? Are you going to tell me you're that girl that doesn't see color? When they were having that intense conversation when they was off into the Lake Tahoe. Now, in that moment, I do agree that when Crystal asked Sutton that question, she had every right to say, are you that girl? Okay? I don't know why Garcelle felt like that was a setup, because I felt like Crystal was basically responding to what Sutton was giving her and asking the questions because she felt like she needed to know who she was dealing with. Okay? People are always quick sometimes when you see the comments on these shows telling people not to make everything about race, but sometimes it's going to come up. And when it does, you talk about it and you move on. Okay? So, the issue that Crystal has is defending her character against what Garcelle asked her about. Okay? Because Garcelle says she felt like Crystal was trying to set Sutton up. That is issue number 2. All Crystal needed to do was what she did, was she said, but you know me, right? You know me now. Do you think I would do that? The answer is no. And that should have been the end of it. But what Crystal does is she pivots. And this creates Crystal's issue number 3, which is that she is now stating that, well, you think I was trying to set her up, but actually I saved her, because what she actually said was much darker than what was shown. And Kyle is looking at her not like, now, girl, wait a minute. I was there. Okay, I was there. And unless the camera is hiding something that I feel like Kyle would have, listen, let me put it to you like this. With the way that Kyle treats Sutton, don't you think that if Sutton has said something else that was extra, Kyle would have aired it out? Because she loved to use Sutton as a punching bag. Okay. She does. She loves to use Sutton as a punching bag. So, in my opinion, if it didn't come out on camera, Kyle probably would have aired it out, because that's what she do to Sutton. Okay. But Crystal tells Kyle, well, girl, you was drunk. You don't know what was said. And Kyle is looking like, no, what, no, what, no, what, no, no, what the what? So Erica even is like, so they're all like, well, girl, what did she say that was so dark and egregious that that you sparing us from? Especially Garcelle, because she's like, I need to know what I'm dealing with. If you telling me something that can impact our relationship, if you telling me she said something that dark, tell me what it is. Tell me what it is, boo-boo. Tell me what it is. So now Crystal is making an issue of the fact that she is now saying that she's conflating the fact that they got on her the last year about using the word violated with the fact that she's using the word dark. Girl, those are two separate things. You cannot mix these two potions together, okay? I, as a critical viewer of this show, will not let you do it. Now, I like you, Crystal. I does. I do. He does. But at the same time, you can't mix those two together. It don't go. It don't go in this recipe. Okay? So in this instance, because you have used the word dark and you have left it a mystery as to what the darkness was, now everybody wants to know, and we need to know what it is. Point blank, plain and simple. Now, I thought this as well too. Kyle may not know what was said is offensive because she is not a person of color. Okay. Even still, tell Garcelle, who is a person of color. Make it make sense. Don't say that a person said something dark without telling me what it was that they said. Because again, as everybody else stated, and they were right to state this, the mind is naturally going to create something even more sinister than possibly what was actually said. So say what it was. Speak on it. Speak on it. That's how I feel. Garcelle would want to know if because she's close to Sutton. And poor Sutton is just so tired of being beat down. Okay. She is so tired, and Kyle points it out to the audience. Sutton is likely so scared that she said something that she does not recall that she just wants to block it all out. Okay. And that's, I think, the reality of the situation. If you're just being real in this situation, I'm sure Sutton is like, what did I do now? Leave me alone. How am I in it? You know? Um I was like, um, girl, like listen, I don't know what Sutton said, might have said, didn't say. I don't know. What I do know is, can somebody tell me what was said? Okay, because I feel like we spent the entire episode going around the mulberry bush trying to figure out what it was that was said. And um the other thing I wanted to point out was I gotta go to the page because this was so baffling to me, and I saved it. I saved it. Hold on for a second. I gotta go to my saves in my Instagram because this was so baffling to me. I was gonna go through this. Y'all know how I like to go through it, like, minute by minute, beat by beat in the episode. But in this instance, I just felt as though we're gonna talk about the main issues. And I need to pull this up because I just thought this was so wild to me. Give me 1 second, y'all, because it's about Erica. So the ladies, specifically, well, the ladies get into Erica feeling, a little bit lighter and brighter. This is before Crystal comes over. And, Erica feels like she's coming through on the other side of everything, right? And so she gets to apologizing for being such a, as she stated, a wild animal last year, okay, and how she was acting towards the ladies. I don't know why she ain't apologizing to Sutton, and she's expecting an apology from Sutton, but whatever. And so I just thought it was interesting that Garcelle was like, well, I think people would have a much better time understanding you if you showed a little bit more empathy for the victims. Okay. And so Erica then says, well, I couldn't. It's things I can't say. Okay. It's things I can't say. We're still in a legal situation and I'm paraphrasing. Okay. Let me put up this alleged badge because I don't even want no smokes. Okay. She says something to the effect of, we still don't know if these people weren't actually paid. So Dorit and Kyle ask her, well, can you clarify? Are you saying that the victims are lying about not getting any of their money? And she's kind of nodding her head. And I'm thinking to myself, are you kidding me right now? Garcelle is looking at her stumped, like, what? Are you really saying this right now? Like, it's one thing to show a lack of empathy. It's one thing to say I cannot address alleged victims, but it is another thing to insinuate, to imply, to suggest that victims in these instances of this situation are lying about not being paid. Are you kidding me? You know, thank you, boo. You know, I now when you look at the news stories though, okay, on the same day as this episode comes out, all right, the news drops that Tom Girardi has been disbarred. Court orders 2.3 million in restitution. Okay. Um, the points are listed as funds stolen from clients, lawyer lied about contingency fees. Um, like, and ordered, okay, ordering him to pay to the 2.2 million plus 10% interest for funds stolen from clients, indicating, okay, that this means that they're requiring him to pay 2 million to four minor children of Lion Air Flight 610 crash victims, which means that this is true, that these people were not paid. That's what the court found. So on the same day that you're telling us you don't know if there's any, I mean, you if there's victims that were they could have possibly been paid and they could be lying. Wow. 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 That's all I got to say about that situation, because to be quite honest with you, she just comes across not the best and not the best light, okay? And I know she thinks she's dipped. I think Erica thinks she's doing it. She's dipping and doing it and creating, and really popping, locking, and dropping it on this season. But girl, like, you need to uh, be humble, okay? Be humble. All right. Some other little tidbits that we get from this episode. Garcelle's son is now working for Lisa Vanderpump. You know the ladies don't like that, okay? Because they can't stand her. All right. We also find out that Lisa's mom had a stroke, which is definitely a sad situation. So she's gonna miss Sutton's big party at her showroom. And then of course Erica's not gonna go because she knows Sutton don't like her and she probably didn't get invited. So it just leaves this group of ladies here to go to the party and stir up the juice. Now, I'm just gonna say this about Diana because I am on a path of I still ain't feeling my best yet, but um I just don't have the mental capacity to be politically correct as I typically would try to be. But I do want to say this about Diana. Y'all know I love me a old rich somebody, okay? The richer the better, okay? If you traveling around and you got your team traveling with you don't even go to stores, okay? Because you quote unquote allergic to the dust in the stores. You ain't never been to a store. Now, my only issue with this is you saying you ain't ever been to the store, but you tell us that you are from a country and you experienced a war in that country. So at some point in time, you had to have gone in a store in that country. So I guess my thought is this. I would appreciate, and I don't know her story, and maybe we'll get more of it, and I could be wrong, and I'm willing to be that. But in this instance, I don't believe that you ain't never been into a store, lady. I don't. I just don't believe it. I understand that you might have had Fendi and Georgia Armani decorate several of your homes in the UK. I understand that you may have designers currently delivering items to your home and then you pay for them. And so you don't have to go. But to say that you don't go into any, that you ain't ever been into a store before because you are allergic to the dust, girl, stop it. Stop it. It would be better for you to say, you know what, listen, I grew up a certain type of way and I lived without for a very long time. Now I don't have to go into the stores. I can bring the stores to me. Just be real about it. But to act as though you've never been into a store implies this notion that you were born into some sort of wealth and that you never experienced what an everyday person would experience. It just sounds ludicrous to me. But that's just me. Okay. And I understand she could have been facetious when she was saying she's allergic to the dust in the stores, but it's not the first time that she said it. So I'm just giving you guys my opinion on it based on the amount of times I've had to hear it thus far. Okay. Um, the ladies, have their ponderosa about Crystal's use of the word dark. Crystal is steadfast in not telling them what the darkness was, what was said that was so dark, and we are all left to just wonder in the dark. We are wandering in the dark. We are in a dark room, okay? In the dark. In the dark. We are in the dark, okay? That is where we are. So not only did Sutton allegedly say something dark, but we too are in the dark. And that is just where I guess we will stay. What was said? I don't know. And Crystal doesn't feel the need to justify it to us because she doesn't feel the need to justify what she said. I said what I said, and I said it was dark, and that's all you need to know. Believe me. Color me confused, okay? Meanwhile, Dorit does some therapy at home. And she talks to the therapist about being triggered while she's going out and her home feeling like her safe space. But in my mind, I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all the truth. If that happened to me, and I hope, Lord, knocking on the wood, but I feel like I would want to up and move because I would feel like my home wasn't the safe space. Okay. Unless we got armed security and everything at the doors now, from now on, from henceforth and forevermore, I'm gonna feel like I need to move. I need to move. I do. I gotta go. I cannot stay here. I don't. We gotta go. We gotta go. And I know it ain't always that easy to just pop up and move from place to place to place to place. But when she said that, I was like, "Oh, you triggered by going out. I would be triggered by being in the house. Get me out of here, okay?" Um. But that's just me. Um. The therapist does make her confront her feelings. And, she says she worries about seeing this headline of, mother and kids found in the house. And, my heart definitely does go out to her. And I definitely think that they are on the right path with seeking counseling, therapy, and whatever else that can be of help for her as she continues to go through that situation. Okay? Okay? And that's that. On the next episode, the ladies are going to be heading to Punta Mita, I think that is, so that Dorit can get away. Okay? Princess Diana, okay? Queen Diana is going to charter a jet for the ladies. Okay, can't ride on that Girardi jet no more. So we got to have a new jet setter in town. All right. And so that's that for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, season 12, episode 4. I hope you enjoyed it. Okay. Um, very interesting episode. I'm left with more questions than answers at this point. So that's why I could not give it a 9 as I wanted to. Okay. Now, with that being said, I'm about to go eat me some lunch real quick. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next video.